Hello and welcome. You're watching Explosive Exclusive with me, Padmaja Joshi, and it's a special edition today because the clock is ticking for the grand inauguration of the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. Excitement, preparations and curiosity all are peaking because it's not just a temple that is being made, it is a symbol of cultural revival, a sort of renaissance for Hindu Astha, and we do not say that lightly. The aspirations of hundreds of years are finally taking shape, and there has been a conscious effort. A lot of people will tell you, oh, this is about a North Indian obsession with Lord Ram and the Ram Mandir, but the temple ensures a pan-India appeal. In 2020, at the Bhoomi Poojan event of the Ram Mandir, Prime Minister had called Ram the common thread of unity in diversity in India. And that is the spirit being demonstrated in the way in which the temple has been constructed. Let's tell you how. The main temple, the Garbhagriha, where the statue of Lord Ram or Ram Lala will be kept, in the north, it has the North's Nagar style, but the four temples at the corners are influenced by Dravidian architecture. It has elements from the renowned South Indian shrines located in Rameshwaram, Tirupati and Kanchipuram. One such feature is the Parkota, the Parikrama Marg. The Ram temple will be the first in North India to have a formal circumambulation path in the form of a wall, which is about 732 meters long and 14 feet wide.
परकोटा, ये परकोटे का कॉन्सेप्ट उत्तर भारत में नहीं है, महाराष्ट्र में भी नहीं है, गुजरात में भी नहीं है, तमिलनाडु में है, केरल में है। ये परकोटा चारों दिशाओं में अगर इसकी लंबाई नाप ली जाए, it is 732 meters। ये दीवार It is 14 feet wide। इसके भी चारों भुजाओं पर 6 मंदिर हैं। एक कोने पर सूर्य भगवान का मंदिर होगा, दूसरे कॉर्नर पर शंकर जी का मंदिर होगा, थर्ड कॉर्नर पर भगवती का मंदिर होगा, देवी का, और चौथे कोने पर गणेश जी का मंदिर होगा। ये दक्षिणी भुजा है, यहां हनुमान जी होंगे, यहां पर माता अन्नपूर्णा।
Even in the construction material that is being used, care has been taken to ensure that they are procured from all over India. Makrana marble and pink sandstone has come from Rajasthan, granite stone from Tamil Nadu and Telangana, and colored marble from Mandla in Madhya Pradesh. Even in the rituals being followed, there is a surety that every part of our country will find representation. The Pran Pratishtha ceremony will be followed by a Mandala Puja to be conducted by a priest from Udupi in Karnataka. This puja is a significant ritual, more prevalent in South India, and it's going to last for 41 to 48 days after the 22nd of January, once the consecration has taken place. But here's another very important thing. As people are waiting for the Ram temple, there are many misconceptions thanks largely to the very distorted form of politics and history that we have seen around the Ram Janmabhoomi movement. So what really happened in that decade, especially the first 4 years, between 89 and 92, what really happened in the Ram Mandir movement? What is the message being sent out, even as you see these latest pictures of the Ram temple as it rises? Joining us today on Explosive Exclusive is the International Working President of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, somebody who himself was an integral part of the movement, Dr. Alok Kumar. Thanks very much, Alok ji, for speaking to us. Just the message of the Ram temple. Today, when you look at these pictures, what is the message being sent out to people across India and to Hindus across the world?
मैं समझता हूं कि ये जैसा बना है और जो हमने इसको ओरिजिनली प्लान किया था उससे ये बहुत बड़ा बन गया है. This now represents the ancient temple architecture where the temples were built by stone with no cement and no iron in it, and designed to last for 1,000 years. This temple now represents the restoration of the self-confidence of the Hindu society, a feeling that the structure of our insult and humiliation is gone and has been replaced by an appropriate temple of the god, which would also lead all Hindus to live a life of Maryada, Sheel, and Parakram.
Was there a conscious effort to try and ensure that all parts of the country were represented, especially in the architecture of the Ram temple and in other things associated with the temple?
Yes, it was a plan from the beginning that all things related to the temple, including the collection of the funds, the use of the stones in various places, the architecture and the artisans, they represent an all India view, and they represent a collective effort of all the arts, architecture, and finances. So Champat Rai ji was right in emphasizing this.
Alokji, now you must have heard a lot of statements coming, especially from the Shiv Sena. A lot of different parties are making an effort to take credit for the Ram temple. Sanjay Raut, you must have heard him say that the BJP ran away and the real Ram temple movement was done by the Shiv Sena. Can you share your recollection of the movement and who you think is truly responsible?
I would say that Sanjay Raut is an expert in saying the most absurd and illogical things. The VHP would not like to take credit for what has happened. It is the Ram Lala whose grace has given this all to us. But right from 1984, the first Dharm Sansad, it was organized and called officially by Vishwa Hindu Parishad. All the saints and seers who had collected there and had passed a resolution to liberate the place and to build a temple was an effort of Vishwa Hindu Parishad. And all the subsequent events, including the Kar-Sevak of 1990, when Mulayam Singh had challenged and said that not even a bird would be allowed in Ayodhya. All the trains were terminated at Lucknow, and 40 feet long pits were dug up onto the main roads and filled with water to ensure that no vehicle can ply on it. It were the Kar-Sevaks, mostly drawn from the VHP Bajrang Dal cadres, who traversed the distance from Lucknow to Ayodhya on foot, through the villages, passing the canals and other things through them, and reached there. It were they who marched over to the structure in 1990 also and fluttered the Bhagwa flag there. And it was in the 1992, the leaders onto the stage, if you make a list of them, hardly one or two from Shiv Sena were there. So I would admit that the Shiv Sainiks had also participated in it. But alleging that the other peoples had fled away has no shred of evidence in any recorded history of that time, in any lawsuit, in any journal, in any magazine. It is a statement created by Sanjay Raut for his selfish and intemperate attacks, and it sometimes appears below our dignity to respond to him.
Alokji, many people would have thought that after 1990, when Kar-Sevaks were fired at, the Ram temple movement would peter out, that it would be over. Despite that, it persisted, and now in 2023, in 2024, the Ram Mandir is finally a reality. When you look at the images of the Ram temple today, what are your memories of that period which come back to you?
I remember that at 7:30 in the morning, all the channels showed the deserted roads in Ayodhya and said, Mulayam has succeeded. There is no soul here. At 8:30, at 9:30, at 10, the general impression was And the visuals prove that the streets were deserted in Ayodhya. I remember at about 10:30, Shri Ashok Singhal came on a motorbike. 50-60 people were there. He proceeded to the structure. There was a stone that hit his head. The blood oozed out. The blood spilled over to his kurta and reached his dhoti. Ashokji was like in a trance. He appeared to not being aware of what he was suffering, moving ahead. And within minutes, all the Ayodhya roads were overfilled with Kar-Sevaks, with Jai Shree Ram. I remember that when they reached the bottleneck of a street, they were fired at point blank range. People remember that Kothari brothers, the two young persons who had gone inside a house, obviously doing nothing, were dragged out, shot at the point blank range. And at the same place, there was a person, Sitaram Mali, who was pushing the tear gas shells into a drain. He was hit from the front, on his between his eyes, killed. There was a person who was called Ajay Gupta. He was chanting Ramdhun. He was shot from the back and killed. And there was a fifth Kar-Sevak, whose name we could not know, who was shot. He wrote from his blood Jai Shree Ram onto the road and died. There were numerous incidents of the unlawful murders by the police of the innocent Kar-Sevaks. And yet, in 1990 and in 1992, they could not stop the Kar-Sevaks. In 1992 also, there was no police repression, but there were police restraints which were breached, and the people reached the structure and the structure gave way. I remember all those incidents, the people who walked in the night, in the winters, the people who sacrificed their lives, and the people who stood at their beck and call.
You know, it's very interesting the kind of names that you have taken. You have taken the name of Sitaram Mali, there is the Kothari brothers, there is a Mr. Gupta, and yet there is a narrative that the Ram Temple movement is largely a Hindu upper caste, male-dominated movement. Can you tell us what really is the reality of that claim?
It is very unfortunate that the secular left lobby has become adept in inventing and spreading false narratives. The name of Rajmata Vijaya Raja Scindia, the name of Uma Bharati, the name of Didi Ma Ritambara are as prominent and respected in the movement as of the male counterparts. Some people put an entire blame for the demolition of the temple, of the structure, on what Uma Bharati and Sadhvi Ritambara were saying from the stage. They were equal participants in the movement. And if you would recollect that the wives of the police officers, the wives of the IAS officers, the wives of the army officers had taken down a procession and had Gherao, the commissioner, asked him, why did you fire at unarmed people? So the movement has always included, in a big measure, the women. I would like to remind that in 1989, when the foundation stone was laid, in the presence of the saints and seers, the Shankaracharya, the other Hindu leaders, by a scheduled caste person named Kameshwar Chaupal. And therefore, when the Prime Minister came there on 5th of August, we had explained that he had come there for the Bhoomi Poojan, not to lay the foundation stone. The trust includes Kameshwar Chaupal. And all around the country, I have visited, and we have visited the small helmets, collected donations of 10 rupees or above from all sections of the Hindu society. the 11 or 15 people who would sit inside the temple complex on that day would also include people from scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and others. This is a movement primarily led by the entire Hindu society, and if you make a list of the leadership, you would find that all sections of the Hindu society are involved, and the upper caste male domination theory is a canard, is a falsity.
What do you make of the politics around it? Of course, the Narasimha Rao government was in power at that time. Now cut to 2023, and the Congress feels, or they claim that there's an attempt to demonize the party. The fact that invitations have been given is only to corner them, almost to try and prove their Hindutva. Is this fair, to try and put the Congress in a corner?
I would not like to enter into that debate. We have personally met Shri Kharge, Srimati Sonia Gandhi, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, and have invited them with respect. It's a part of the recorded history that during the Congress rule, an affidavit was filed in the Supreme Court saying that Ram is a mythological person. We have on record the government's statements, their government statements, that Ram Setu was not built by Rama. And Shri Narasimha Rao, the former Prime Minister, has written a book on Ayodhya in which he said that when some Muslim leaders told the Prime Minister Nehru about the Ayodhya events, he directed the state government to get the deities removed from the central structure.
After 49.
There are stages in history, and it is very unfortunate that we had to fight for Ram Mandir, not only against the Mughals, not only against the English people, but also the elected government of the Congress and of the VP Singh. That they cannot erase. But then we have not raised these issues at this time. We have said the temple belongs to all of us. The credit for it is to the Ram Lala. We are not taking credit. We are not constructing the temple. It is the trust who has constructed the temple. And therefore, all Hindus who have faith in Ram are invited. I can assure you that if any of the three invited Congress leaders choose to come to the ceremony, they would be welcome with all the respect that they deserve.
That's good to hear. But what is the truth behind the invitation to Advani ji and Murli Manohar Joshi ji? Why were they asked to stay away? I mean, even if it's now being said that it was because of concern for their health.
I can't explain that statement to you, except saying that it was out of goodwill for a concern to their health. But then we went to Advani ji, we spoke to his daughter, we found out the necessary logistics that would be required, the medical help and other things, and we have assured his family that all such arrangements would be in place, and we would be very happy and privileged to have Advani ji and Joshi ji at their occasion.
Okay, so this is good to put this to rest, that Advani ji and Joshi ji, there's an open invitation to them if they choose to come. Finally, I want to ask you, is there a sense of regret that this could have been done differently? In place of making a mandir, which you say is a sign of cultural revival, did it need to be built by taking down the Babri Masjid? Won't it leave a sense of resentment in a large section of people of India?
I'm not sure. And I am not sure if it was a masjid. My little understanding of Islam tells me that a mosque constructed on the place that has been demolished, that a religious place that has been demolished is not a mosque, and Khuda would not accept the namaz on it. On the other side of it, These types of structures were constructed not for namaz, but for perpetuating a perpetual humiliation on the defeated race. And therefore, now it is confirmed that the idols of the deities were broken into pieces and put into the material that made the floor and steps. And it was done with the feeling that whosoever goes to offer a namaz tramples the deities under their feet. So I would not consider that a religious place of the Muslims. It was an imperialism in disguise, and I am not sorry that that structure has gone away.
Dr. Alok Kumar, thank you very much for speaking to Times Now. A huge moment in history for people, not just in India, but across the world. It may mean many different things to many people, but it does remain as a symbol of Hindu faith resurrected. Thanks for speaking to us. Thanks for watching.